Let me tell you a story of when I made the dumbest mistake and this cost me my grade. As in, I missed 2 whole pages of questions and there was even a 6-mark question on that page. Now, this is what truly got me the grade 9 in biology. This is something that could affect your grade more than the amount of revision you've done. You thought you aced your exam. You worked all day and all night, you put in the hours, you did the flashcards, you did the exam questions, but you still didn't receive the grade that you wanted. When being handed your paper, face down, which is always the worst, you received a big fat fail. Or even worse, a U. Why did this happen? You flipped through the paper and realized you made a whole lot of silly mistakes that you normally wouldn't have. Why do we do this and how can we prevent this from happening? How do we avoid making silly mistakes on the exam day? Find out in this video. So as you guys know, these videos take a lot of effort and a lot of time. So to show your support, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as share this video with anyone that you think it will help, such as a friend, a cousin, a distant relative, anyone at all. Be sure to share it as it really supports my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about double checking, educated guessing, maintaining composure, and the importance of grade 9 preparation. Let's get straight into the video. So let's talk about double checking. Double checking is incredibly important in all stages of your exam. A lot of people skip this step and this could actually make a huge difference in your grades. It's very important that you double check at each stage. This saves you a lot of time and a lot of stress later down the line. So there's many stages at which you want to double check. The first one is read the question twice. I don't care if you've read it the first time, read it again. You can never be too sure. There's no point of rushing through the paper, not reading the questions and just blurting down everything you know. This is not effective, and not only does this waste time, but it also shows the examiner that you don't know what you're talking about, and it could result in them marking you a bit more harshly. Read the question and see what it's asking you, not what you want it to ask you. I know you revised this whole topic yesterday night and it didn't come up, but don't start writing about it in a question that's completely irrelevant to that topic. Highlight the keywords, use a pen, and just focus on what it's asking you. What is the command word? Is it asking you to state? Is it asking you to explain? Is it asking you to list? Make sure you know what it's asking you to do, because you want to start off by doing that. If it's a state question, so you want to state 3 things, you don't want to be going into detail and explaining it. You're wasting time and you're not going to get any more marks for it. Just try to answer the questions the way they want you to. 2, make sure to double check your answers. Double checking your answers is incredibly important, especially in subjects such as maths. You may start to be overconfident and think, okay, it's just adding and subtracting, who can get this wrong? You can get it wrong, and you probably will get it wrong in your exam. It's the stress of it all, it's the environment, it's the silence. It can make you make mistakes that you otherwise wouldn't if you were revising at home. So don't slip up and check at every stage after you do it. Even if you're adding something like 6 plus 19, double check it in your head and make sure it's the correct thing. Especially when you're entering numbers into your calculator, make sure you're typing in the right number. It is so easy to just change 1 unit by accident and then end up getting the wrong answer. Don't let this be you. Even in your mocks, even in your tests in class, start double checking, build up the habit now. You don't want to be training your brain to be lazy, and then when it comes to the exam, instead of double checking, you're just flipping through the paper, rushing because you don't know what you're doing. When you're answering the question, make sure you double check and see the way they want you to answer it. They might want you to round it to the next decimal point. They might want you to include the units. Just double check at the end just to ensure that you get that extra mark, because this 1 mark could make all the difference. You want to make sure you get all of these easy marks so that you have room to lose marks on a hard question. For essay-based subjects, ensure that your essay makes sense. It's really easy to write a word twice and not notice it until the end. Just make sure you quickly read over your essays, and who knows, maybe reading over it may spark something in your brain and you might get to write another point. It's really important to double check no matter the subject. And the third thing that you should double check is the entire paper. So I recommend to go through the entire paper at the start of the exam. Now this may seem daunting, especially if you're not used to this method, but I guarantee it will definitely help you throughout the exam. This is basically just going through the questions, looking at what it's asking you, looking at the topics that come up, and just ensuring that you see the entire paper. Let me tell you a story of when I made the dumbest mistake and this cost me my grade. So it was GCSE chemistry, it was my mocks, and I got my paper back, and turns out that I was a few marks away from the next grade. And I was just like, okay, whatever, it's fine, I'll get the grade next time. But then I realized I was flipping through the paper, and please tell me why I missed an entire spread. As in, I missed 2 whole pages of questions, and there was even a 6-mark question on that page. I was so annoyed. I was just like, how could I be this stupid? How could I be this dumb? Like, this is not like me. Why would I do that? And it's just a lapse indecision. It's just not me being thorough, and it's just so important that you see all of the questions at the start. Then you can know, okay, I didn't see this question, so I must have missed a page. You don't want to be in your real exam and you miss a page. That is literally the worst thing that could happen, because that means that there's no way that you're going to get any of those marks, and you don't want to be limiting yourself that drastically. But then again, I was so annoyed this happened, but at the same time I was so glad, because I realized from this day on I would never make such a mistake. I would never ever do that. I will always go through the entire paper. Flipping through your entire paper at the start helps in two ways. First of all, as I said, it helps you to see all of the questions and prevents you from missing any out. Second, it stimulates your brain. You get to see the topics that come up, and it may seem stressful at the start. You may think, how am I going to answer this question? But whilst you're going through the paper, subconsciously your brain is thinking about the questions, and you may be able to get the answer. You have the entire paper and the entire time to strategize and see what questions you want to do first, what you want to leave for later, and it's just more effective than just opening each question for the first time. So if there's a topic you're not confident on, forward the page and come back to it later, and make sure you don't waste time. You don't want to spend 10 minutes on a question you truly don't understand. Just do another question instead. That brings me to my next point, which is educated guessing. Now, this is what truly got me the grade 9 in biology. Educated guessing is so important. A lot of the questions you think, what topic does this even relate to? Like, how am I even going to answer this question? Sometimes the examiner just wants you to use your common sense, and that is all. A lot of the questions in biology seem like they're trying to trick you, like you should just make up the answer from your head, and sometimes that truly is the case. When in doubt, make the most educated guess that you can. Use all of your common sense, use all of your knowledge, and just write something down. At the end of the day, worst case scenario, you don't get the mark. Best case scenario, you get the mark, and it makes the difference between one grade and another grade. Like, you can't lose anything from guessing. There's no negative marks in GCSEs, so there's nothing to lose. Have confidence in yourself, try everything, and just make the most of each question. Don't leave any question blank, because then you're limiting yourself and there's no way you'll get a mark. At least if you do this, you know by the end of it, you gave it your all, you tried your hardest, and there's nothing more that you could do, so you won't beat yourself up as much. Moving on to my next point, which is maintaining composure. Let's be honest, taking an exam in the exam hall is one of the most nerve-wracking experiences that you've probably had up to this point. It can make you make the dumbest mistakes and do things that you normally wouldn't if you were at home doing the same questions. One of the key parts of acing your exam is maintaining composure. What this means is when things get rough, when things get overwhelming, you maintain your focus and you don't give up. Walk in confident. As I always used to say during my exams, at the start of each exam, I would say, I'm gonna get a grade 9 in this exam, I'm gonna try my hardest, I'm gonna get the best grade that I can. And I know it sounds full of myself, but what do you lose from being confident in yourself? Nothing. You might not get the grade that you initially thought you would, but you don't lose anything from being confident. You want to be confident in your ability. You don't want to walk into the exam hall doubting yourself, being scared, thinking, oh, this is going to be the worst exam paper of my life, I'm not going to pass. Feeding all that negativity in your head is not going to do any good. You don't want to do that. It is already a very scary environment. You don't want to be making it worse for yourself. When you notice yourself panicking, when you're scared in the exam, when you start hyperventilating, you start getting stressed, close your eyes for a few moments and take a deep breath. Relax and reduce your heart rate by just breathing in and out, having deep breathing exercises. Now, this may seem like a waste of time, but if you're panicking and you feel like you can't do it, 2 minutes is not going to make much of a difference to you completing the exam. At least if you relax in these 2 minutes and you regain your composure, it will be much better for you. You have to know that you will get through it and you will get to the other side of it, and you'll try your hardest. This is something that could affect your grade more than the amount of revision you've done. Cheesy as it sounds, believing in yourself makes all the difference. Try to have the same mindset when doing past papers or mocks and build the habit now so that it's easier for your exam. Another tip is to not second guess yourself, especially when you don't know the answer. You don't want to second guess what you've written, especially at the end when you're flipping through it. This is basically you just going against your instinct, and it almost never works out. A lot of people do this in maths and they change the answer at the final stages and then realize that they would have got the right answer if they just left it alone. Believe in yourself and have confidence. Even if you guess it wrong by using your gut instinct, you won't beat yourself up and thinking, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have changed it, oh my gosh, why did I do that? You'll be a lot easier on yourself. Another thing is, if you don't understand the question, move on. I know you're gonna be surprised by me saying this, but what's the point of wasting time when you don't have the information in your brain? Like, there's no way you're gonna get it by dreading on that one question and wasting time. Fold the paper over or put a dot in the corner of the paper and come back to it later. Make sure you gain as much marks as you can in the start. Think of it as a game and you're running out of time. You are running out of time when you think about it. Go through the questions, answer the questions you understand the most, the ones you're most confident in. Then if you have time at the end, go back to these questions. You may lose marks by leaving it to the end, but you won't gain any marks by staring at it. Pick up the most marks early on and then go back for the rest. Now, my final tip is being prepared. As you guys know, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Like, there's no way that you can get a good grade if you don't prepare for your exam. Don't be the person who didn't bring a protractor on the day of their maths exam. You don't want to be running around stressing, asking for a maths set, and just relying on them to have one. What if they don't have one? That means you'll be restricted on what you can do in the exam, and you could potentially lose marks. As well as this, you don't want to be stressing the night before, running around looking for a calculator because you realize you don't even have one. You want to have these prepared weeks or even months in advance for your exam, because you don't want to be the unorganized person. It adds stress to a already stressful day, and you want to be relaxed on the day of your exam. Always prepare your bag the day before. You want to have a clear pencil case with at least a ruler, 3 pens, 3 pencils, a calculator, a math set, whatever you may need for that particular exam you have the next day. You can never be over prepared, but you can be under prepared, so just bring extras just in case. And a calculator is very important. They may not have a Casio calculator on the day of your exam to give you. Now you have to spend time learning how to use this special calculator that you've never used before. So get used to your calculator early on and ensure that you have one in plenty of time for the exam. Another thing is to make sure you sleep properly before your exam. I know you're stressed out and I know you may not have covered all the content, but staying up until 5 and cramming everything is not gonna work. Cramming new information, especially so late before the exam, nothing's gonna enter your brain. You're just wasting time and you're also exhausting yourself. Know when enough is enough, have a good night of sleep and rest well, because it's gonna be a long day the next day. You don't wanna be tired, you don't wanna be a zombie. You wanna be fully rested and ready for the exam. You'll probably never be 100% confident, and that's okay. I wasn't 100% confident before most of my exams anyways. Before one of the exams, I was so upset that I was in the toilet contemplating my life and thinking, I'm not gonna pass this, I don't know anything, I'm not prepared. And look what happened. I still got the grades that I needed and the grades that I wanted. So honestly, believe in yourself and know when enough is enough, and have rest, because rest is so crucial in not making mistakes in your exam. When you're tired, you're more likely to slip up, you're more likely to do things you normally wouldn't, and it's just not effective. So just try your hardest, and that's all you can do. Guys, we're coming to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful, and if you did, be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more, and definitely be sure to share the video, because as you know, it supports my channel and helps me to produce videos like this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.